Well, U.S. President Joe Biden has strongly suggested Vladimir Putin's involvement in the apparent death of Yevgeny Prigozhin in Wednesday's plane crash.
What happened, but I'm not surprised.
Do you believe?
There's not much that happens when Russia and Putin not behind, but I don't know enough to know the answer.
Well, Arise chief correspondent John Cookson has been monitoring developments from London, and he joins us live now for more. Welcome to the show, John. Can you tell us what are the theories today about whether Prigozhin is dead or alive?
Hi guys, great to be on Newsday as always. Well, look, Ukrainian media and some Russian media are confirming that Prigozhin is dead. He was on the plane and died in that fireball. Now, 10 bodies have apparently been recovered from the crash plane, including his number 2, Dmitry Utkin. Now, Prigozhin was apparently, and this is unconfirmed, he was identified because the body had a missing finger, and Prigozhin had a missing finger. Utkin was also identified because someone recognized his tattoos. So it seems that the leadership has perished on this plane, and one of the theories being touted around in Western capitals at the moment is through intelligence agencies is that there was a bomb in the landing gear. And interestingly, I've learned this morning that Christina Raspopova, who was the flight stewardess on the plane, she telephoned relatives before the plane took off and said it was late because of a technical issue, and that engineers were looking at the plane, indicating that perhaps the bomb was placed on the plane before it left Moscow. It actually crashed after a flight of about 30 minutes. It was at 29,000 feet. And also intelligence agencies are saying it was unlikely to have been a rocket because some of the world's biggest intelligence agencies would know that they have methods of tracking projectile missiles over Russia, and it would have come out from some agency that a rocket was involved. So it seems at the moment that there was an onboard bomb on that plane, and this young woman telephoning her relatives and saying the plane was late because of technical reasons, and there were engineers seems to back up that claim. But this is all out of sort of spy novels, and you couldn't make half of this up. I mean, it's just James Bond kind of stuff. That here was a man goes in who led a failed coup against Putin. Everyone was wondering how on earth did he get away with it, and here we are 2 months later. He did not get away with it, because if indeed he was on board that plane, he has perished along with some of the senior leaders in the Wagner group.
Indeed, John, and if you remember in 2019 there was stories that he went under the radar, and perhaps he might have met his end then, but at least he turned up in Ukraine afterwards, just before the conflict there. So if he's dead, does that spell danger for Putin or put him in a stronger position, you think?
That's a good question, and I think the next few days are going to be crucial. Because there's two ways of looking at it. That Putin, nothing happens in Russia, as Biden alluded to there just short time ago. Nothing happens big in Russia without Putin say so. So presumably he was behind this assassination, if indeed it was an assassination. And on the world stage, and certainly perhaps more importantly at home, he's dealt with the problem. Prigozhin was a problem, and he's dealt with it. So it reinforces his strongman image. On the other hand, Prigozhin was a popular figure, certainly amongst Wagner Group members, and there would be about 30,000 of them, and there will be some support, as we've seen when Prigozhin stopped off in Rostov-on-Don recently. He was praised by a lot of Russians there, that he has support within Russia. If the Wagner Group decide to take revenge in some way, then Putin, of course, is in danger. But he's surrounded by perhaps the most ultimate security in the world. So although the threat might be there, the danger to Putin perhaps is not so great. So we'll find out in the next couple of days whether Putin emerges victorious from this recent event.
Well, John, what are Wagner mercenaries saying about their chief's apparent death?
All over Russia, where Wagner mercenaries live or return home after the failed coup, they've set up makeshift shrines, and I've seen images of that on social media. There was a great love for their warlord leader, and it may well be that they soon or sometime in the future they might try to take revenge. Some are saying that whoever carried out this assassination, if indeed it was an assassination, of traitors to Russia. And that indicates to me that there could be troubled days ahead if Wagner mercenaries decide to exact revenge for the killing of their leader.
Indeed, John. And just to allude to what you just said, we've seen one or two videos of Wagner mercenaries, saying they might, if confirmed, that he actually died in that plane crash, they might march on Moscow as well. But has there been any reaction from world leaders? We heard earlier from President Biden.
Yeah, Biden's the only one so far, and the reason is, I think, there's been no confirmation yet of Prigozhin's death. I think once that's confirmed, then you'll find world leaders coming out and saying one or two things. The Ukrainians, their defense ministry has put out a statement saying one less terrorist means more instability in Russia, and that's good for us. So far, the Ukrainians at low level are the only ones who've commented so far. Once Prigozhin's death has been actually officially confirmed by the Kremlin, I think we'll see further reaction.
But John, just before you go, what is the implication for the wide implication for, if confirmed, for his death regarding other Wagner groups, especially in countries, continents like Africa, where he has most of his investment?
Well, look, the head of the snake has been chopped off, apparently, and that sometimes, not always, spells death for the group itself. It's certainly with the assassination the death of al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, during the Trump era. That spelled a period of uncertainty for ISIS, although there's been a revival. As far as Wagner is concerned, as I say, 25 to 30,000 members. They were exiled or could choose exile in Belarus. We don't know what they're doing. The African countries that we're using Wagner will certainly miss them if they're not there. So that tells me that that there could be a revival of the movement, for example, in Central African Republic, which for Wagner Group keeping stability there, Prigozhin and others were paid in diamonds and gold. So I don't think it's the end, probably, of Wagner Group. And don't forget, there are other mercenary groups within Russia too that could be of assistance to Putin in Ukraine. The Chechens, for example, are very effective, and there are other mercenaries that Putin can use in Ukraine and indeed elsewhere in the world. So I suspect Wagner will go quiet for a little while, but all these groups have contingency plans for if their leader is assassinated. All the terror groups that the world's seen in recent years have contingency plans. They have leaders on standby, ready to take over. So again, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the coming days and weeks.
So this might be some relief for Gerasimov and, of course, Shoigu at this rate. But what is the wide implication for Ukraine, on this Prigozhin's death?
Well, look, the Wagner Group had basically pulled out of Bakhmut, having been stuck there for some 12 months or more, having secured the town, and certainly the Ukraine was having difficulty regaining it back. The Russian army and the regular Russian army are very much entrenched in Ukraine at the moment and dug in and seem to have seen off counteroffensive by the Ukrainians. So in Ukraine, because Wagner Group had basically pulled out, it's going to be the same old, a war of attrition. And no doubt Putin is perhaps waiting it out until perhaps a change of leadership in the White House next year. So, as I say, because Wagner won a key role at this moment in Ukraine, then the impact is not going to be huge.
Thank you so much, Arise Chief Correspondent John Cookson. Appreciate you.